That's what I'm talking about, son. Get you some of that daggone pie.
Woo-hoo! Looky there! There's your bug-eyed big one right there.
Getting started. We're getting started.
Here's what I'm talking about. Gosh dang gorilla!
Let's go, baby. Straight meat. God, look at that big one.
All right, welcome everybody to the BAM Pod. This is your host, Big Ed, and on the line tonight, we have got Stephanie Hemphill-Pellerine, and I know I got it right that time. So, hey, if y'all don't know who she is, you got to check this out. She is out there right now fishing the LBAA. I think I put one too many A's in there, but LBAA and the Toyota Series and the Bassmaster Central Open. She is out there working hard, and she's doing it all from the pointy end of the boat. So, we're going to get in there. We're going to get some information. So welcome into the show tonight.
Howdy.
And she is from the great state of, sounds like Texas right there.
Yeah, we're the proudest people ever.
Okay, good to go. You're out there right now. You're on Bull Shoals. We're going to be talking to you. You're sitting in your boat right now. Everybody can't see this on the screen, but I can. She's sitting in her boat out here. Getting prepared for tomorrow's tournament to kick off. She's fishing the LBAA. Let everybody know what that is.
The LBAA Women's Pro Tour is a tour just for women. We have a pro side and we also have a co-angler side. Pro side catches 5 fish limit for 2 days. Co-side is 3 fish limit for 2 days. And we, fish 4 tournaments a year. This is actually my first one, which is a wild card event, and that's to make it to the classic, basically the women's classic. So
the women's classic. So how long has this tour been around?
This actually been around since I think 2011. Okay. I joined it back then, and life happens. Your kids are most important to you, so therefore sometimes you have to make that really hard decision. Hey, I'm going to sit back for a little bit. I'm going to take care of my family, and when kids kind of grow up and can kind of do for themselves a little bit, then you can get back to it. And so I'm back.
So what is that, like a year and a half? But you can walk now. That's good enough. Go.
Yes.
I gotta go fishing.
So well, my kids aren't real huge fishermen. They can't even stand being in the boat. I have a 17-year-old and 11-year-old, and neither one of them want to be in the boat. So I think I forced them and kind of pushed them a little bit too much. Yeah. And made them not like it. So, it happens though.
We don't all have perfect children, so it's okay.
I know, right?
Well, one of the things we'd like to do here on BAM Pod here is really like to get some good information about what's going on in the water. We're right in the middle of the spring transition going into summer. And, you're out there fishing quite a bit. So you're seeing how these lakes are all responding. You're fishing from Texas. Bull Shoals is in, I know you said it was a long way. So what?
Yeah, it was about a 10-hour drive for me, 11 with all the stops. It's a very clear lake, about 178 feet. I think the deepest point I saw is crystal clear water. And it's also 27 feet up, but it's dropping every day.
And what's your home water? Where do you fish the most?
Rayburn.
Sam Rayburn. And what's the contrast there?
We can see probably if you're going up the river, 6 inches to maybe a foot. If you're mid-lake, you can probably see 4 foot, 5 foot, something like that. It's all dependent too on the rain and this and that, because it can get murky very quick. But color is not necessarily bad either.
No, I mean, it gives you different, I guess, different opportunities. So, yes, and that's one of the things we really want to talk about, is right now, there's places all over the place, like you said, some lakes are just, 6 inches of visibility, 2 feet of visibility. And now you're on Bull Shoals. Bull Shoals has got, 20 foot of visibility, more, yes. Probably more. What do what's your go-to right now? If you're normally fishing this time of year, going into the summer, coming out of spring, coming out of the spawn, what's your real go-to? What do you like to really fish?
Well, honestly, let's start first thing in the morning is going to be some type of topwater for sure. I'm going to try to get that topwater bite as long as I possibly can, because they will be moving up and feeding, early in the day. Right. And obviously, you're going to probably move offshore, especially on Rayburn. maybe 20 foot deep secondary points, after the spawn. Those secondary points, those big girls seem to get on those really well. And so, football head jig, if you can find a school, drop shot, those really are my go-tos. I really can't throw a deep diving crankbait yet. I had shoulder surgery back in November, so I'm still kind of recuperating over that. But also a deep diving crankbait, if you can get on one of those schools, then go out and get after them.
Yeah.
Especially with our forward sonar,
Yeah.
our forward. Yeah.
Yeah. You can really see what they're doing and where they're going when you're
Oh
getting
yeah.
that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
What's your top water bait of choice? What's your favorite thing to throw?
Usually a poplar.
Poplar. Okay.
Yeah. I'm old school. School.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of big fish are caught on that poplar every year. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, for sure.
As you kind of work into now talking something more about like the darker water, the dirtier water, that sort of thing, you kind of go at it the same way, or are you changing it up? And
I really kind of go about the same way. I just kind of change up a little bit. Color selection, no matter where you go, honestly. And I really have not been to a place yet that the color is not like green pumpkin or watermelon red or some color like that, or black and blue. But all the colors are also good on Rayburn too as well. So.
All right. Let me turn this thing. So as you kind of talk about those, you just go into different colors. You're talking, and it's really good this time of year because there are different lakes. Like a lot of the lakes I'm fishing have that same concept where we got a lot of clear waters, out here in California. And then we've got a lot of the, some areas and some lakes that are staying dirtier and a little bit more. So we change up that color a little bit more. As that color basically gets you that change during the summer, do you ever start going to more, flashier colors or things like that to really during the day, or are you fishing pretty much the same all day long? You'll just pick what you think solid, or what do you?
Yeah, pretty much. I like to keep it simple. Okay. And I'm pretty much going to go with what I think they're biting. And I'm probably going to keep that color all day long if they are biting it. But obviously from earlier in the day, you should know what color. You should have it pinpointed down pretty quick.
Right.
And, obviously you can change baits and you can change colors and all this other type of stuff to catch bigger fish. Some baits catch smaller fish. Some baits catch larger fish, and you may have to make those adjustments. But,
that's, I recently talked to Bernie Schultz, and he was talking about, colors and things like that. And he really liked, instead of having so many colors, he was talking about, different styles and different, like if you're talking, like you were talking about a deep diving crankbait, having different styles of deep diving crankbait over the color of it. And when you're talking about super clear water, like you were, like you're going to be on this week, color probably makes a heck of a difference.
Yes, it does. It does. When I first got out here, I was very questionable on what to throw. I pretty much threw everything. I had about 17 rods on my deck. That never happens. That means I have no clue what the heck to do whatsoever, but I'm going to throw everything I got. So, pretty much my whole tackle room came, and I'm actually only taking out 4 or 5 rods tomorrow.
That's good.
So there's no reason to have any more. You kind of pinpoint exactly what they're doing, what time they're doing it. And there you go. So obviously I've had other ones ready, but no reason to have them out.
Now, so the question here then becomes, over the course of you pre-fishing and looking for these fish, have you found different, like, hey, I started off with maybe this chatterbait, or I started off with this bait, or I started off with that. Have you found that a different, maybe you were doing a deep dive, I know you said you couldn't throw a deep diving crankbait, but if you're throwing it, if you're throwing like your pop or things like that, but you're finding something else, how many different baits did you go through until you really pinpointed that specific, bait that you're choosing?
Yeah, well, topwater, because hopefully I'm answering this right. The topwater, because it's so clear, I thought the smaller the better. Mm-hmm. I really thought that. And so I already was going to go with like a bone color or white, because I knew that they could see really well, and something definitely that made a lot of noise. I probably started with the popar first, was catching little bitty ones. Right. No big fish wanted it. And so then, I went to, what did I go to next? Really, the next one was the dadgummit Zoom. No, hold on. What was it? The knocker. Yeah.
Oh, the knocker. Yeah, the one knocker. Okay.
The one knocker, and the regular size one, not the baby, and they
Right.
seem to pair it up.
Okay.
So really that part, the morning part was taken care of right then.
Okay.
Then you have to figure out, the rest of your day. Well, what color are they gonna bite? What color jig are they gonna bite? I'm fishing some really deep stuff throughout the day. I'm sitting in probably 72 feet of water, throwing at some rocky bluffs, and it's stairs, so basically I'm pulling it all the way down onto those smallmouth schools is what I'm
Okay.
doing. So then it was trying to figure out the color because I knew what I was going to do.
Right.
Also tried drop shotting. It didn't produce the type of fish I would want it to. It was a lot smaller fish, and they did nose up to it, and that's pretty much about it. So that was excluded too as well. I tried some shallower crankbaits and some shallower areas, thinking, okay, well, you go up here into 13 foot of water, you can see the bottom, and you look around, you're like, crap, there's about 17 pounds swimming around here right now. But those jokers won't bite; they can see you.
Right.
And so trying to figure out how to catch these larger fish that you can see and they can see you. So that was one of the things also, but so far, I mean, it's simple. It's, a top water, it's a jig, and then it's a Texas rig, and that's it. And I got
Okay.
just a few colors of each just in case,
Right.
hey,
Just
they
something
because
changes
the
a
water's
little bit.
dropping.
Right.
The water's dropping right now. So, the only thing I see really staying just the same is probably the smallmouth. They're not going to move too much because they're deep anyways. But
They're deep. Yeah.
yeah, they're really deep.
Now
So,
I don't know that much about bull shoals. Is that what you got? So you got largemouth and smallmouth in
yes,
there.
yes.
Is it pretty much like everywhere else? Largemouth are definitely the ones you want to pursue just to make sure you get the biggest fish, or are the smallmouth a pretty good stable source for a quality bag?
From what I've seen, you can definitely get a very good stack of smallmouth, but just from what I've seen, if you catch some largemouth are very fat here. They're very fat. So is a smallmouth, you
Right.
can easily probably get 17, 18 pounds with a largemouth, and I'm pretty sure you can get about the same thing with the smallmouth.
We think it's going to take to get a check.
What is it going to take to get a check? I'm going to say 18 pounds.
18 pounds. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
And so how many anglers are there going to be in this tournament?
We have 25 this time. 25 on the pro side and 25 on the co side.
Okay.
2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we work on into summer, we're going to end up, if you're talking about some of your home lakes, or you're talking about lakes that you fish a little bit more, what's your go-to summer baits? I mean, is it kind of the same thing you're just talking about now, or is it just,
yes,
we're
most definitely. I can't tell you how many big fish I've caught off jigs.
okay.
I mean, I will always forever have a jig or two on my boat. I mean, I had a 968 last summer in August
Nice.
in a brush pile. So, and I mean, it ate that jig.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a lot of times the bigger fish eat those jigs.
Now, what kind of jigs do you like? What's your favorite? Football head, flipping jig, pitch,
Honestly, I don't have a favorite. Right now I'm using a finesse because of what I'm doing. But a lot of times, especially in that really deep water on Rayburn, I like a football head jig.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I like very compact jigs. I don't want one of these. None of them are really big, but just everything really compact.
Right.
I think those produce very well.
What's your trailer of choice?
I really don't have.
Yeah.
Not really, as long as it matches. I have all kinds of stuff in my
Yeah.
trailer box, and they're pretty much all mixed up. So.
Okay. So there's no big standard that you kind of throw on there and go, you know what, if I'm going to throw a jig, I'm throwing this mostly. You're just picking whatever kind of matches the best and has a good action for that time of the year.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, recently I picked up some of that bait fuel, and you know what that is, and it makes a huge difference.
What's bait fuel?
You don't know what it is?
Nope. Never seen it yet. Or maybe I haven't seen it.
Okay. So this looks pretty raggedy, but it's been in my boat, but I use it a lot.
Okay. So it's a fish attractant. Yes.
But this is going to sound retarded. I did try it because I was kind of curious of what, I was kind of curious because it didn't smell. But it's amino acids. So
Okay.
you cannot smell it. I can't see it. You can actually soak some of your worms in it. And to me, it helps. It helps a lot. Sometimes I go without it. And if the bite gets really tough, I put that on there. And I'm not sponsored by these people whatsoever. This is
Okay.
just what I personally think.
So you just said, let me back up a hair there, but you slipped it in there and then kind of walked away real quick. You tried it, so you couldn't smell it, you couldn't do anything, but so you tasted it.
Mustang Survival, home of the original floater coat. With over 50 years of experience in engineering and manufacturing the best in marine safety and comfort, we've got you covered when fishing in all conditions.
I did. I read it,
And you still can't, and you couldn't get anything when you
Why
tasted it.
not? Why not? I mean, it's not going to kill me.
Because
I'm
it
just
says
kinda
right on
scared
the
of it.
bottle, not for human consumption.
I read the ingredients. All good. All good. It wasn't like I turned it up like a shot. Oh, this is yummy. No, it was like sticking my finger in there, like that.
Okay.
So have you never opened up some worms and smelled that garlic and you're like, man, it smells really good?
My secret one is the Strike King coffee.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, I love those bags of worms.
I'm not saying I'm going to try those worms because they smell good, but no, that I was really curious about because the no smell is what got me.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does it work? It doesn't have a smell.
Yeah.
But it seems to work.
So it gives it that. I mean, it's another attractant that basically gives them that second of they hold on to it a little longer. It's got a flavor. Yeah. It's got something that really kind of gets them to grab onto it. So that's, I mean, hey, every little thing helps. And
I've never been a scent person really until I discovered that. I may dip it in garlic every so often. I have literally some garlic chartreuse that my grandfather had back in 2010 that I still have. That tells you how much so.
Yeah, the good old dip and die.
Yep.
Yeah, that stuff's good. So as we kind of work on, the different lakes and different things that you're going to work, where are you headed out next to after this one?
Red River. Well, actually take that back. I have a BFL in August. It's our 2-day BFL.
Okay.
And that pretty much decides, who's going to get regionals as far as points are concerned. And then September will be the Red River with the Bassmaster Central Opens. And then October will be Sam Rayburn on my home lake for the Central Opens.
Okay. So we're getting to, that's going to be a good one for you then. Well, I don't know. There's always that.
I hope so. I mean, we always hope. We all know we can go get them on our home waters, and we have all these memories of past times that we've caught everything. Mm-hmm. So you can easily go question yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, easily. And you can easily make the wrong decisions based on all the knowledge that you have. So honestly, the pressure is really up more when you're at your home lake. Yeah,
I think that hometown jinx really does come in, and basically because of what you just said right there. It's not. 100%. I don't think it's so much a jinx as just this is how I should be catching them.
But they have freaking sticks, in the South and on Rayburn.
Right.
It doesn't matter. They've been fishing there forever. It doesn't matter what time of year they're gonna be in the top 10. It's just how it is. And those people are pretty rare because I just know for a lot of us it's hard fishing on your home lake.
Yeah.
So
it's all right. Break it up and go out there and do well on it. That's the But you got the Red River coming up. So you're gonna be changing up a few things there.
That most definitely.
What are you going to start? Looking into waterways like that with the river, you got current, you got different tide. Does that have tide? Is it tide influenced? I don't know.
I don't know that. I just know it's very current influenced. Okay. So, it really all depends. I'm probably going to start with something like a shaky head, some dark colors that they can see, maybe a chatterbait, depends on if there's a lot of wind. I mean, a lot of that type of stuff for sure. So,
okay. So
I'm definitely going to try to fish my strengths versus, I'll try first what I'm used to doing, and then I'll explore out from there.
Okay. So that's so besides a jig, what's your biggest confidence baits? Are you more finesse, or are you?
Yes. I'm more finesse.
Okay.
I am. I'm not huge with crankbaits. I will throw one. Because obviously you got to be, pretty flexible in what you do. But finesse. I hate Ned rigs. Absolutely can't stand the jokers.
Yeah.
I'm way too impatient for that now. But shaky heads, Texas rig, drop shot, obviously jigs.
Okay.
You know, so.
Is there any special way that you fish that shaky head or the jigs and things like that really make a difference that you've noticed, or you?
Well, I think you just change it based on the movement of the fish. How active are they?
Okay.
Is it summertime and they're not doing a lot, and they're trying to stay out of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they're not going to be really active. You're probably going to slow down a little bit, but let's say they are more active but they're, sitting on the bottom, this and that, I always drag, I may bounce it up a little, boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then drag some more and then up and down. And, you just mix it up. You do whatever the bass tell you to do.
Okay. So that's, there are people out there that, hey, I like to fish a jig slow and I like to drag it and I like to, but I think what you just said right there makes the most sense, is that you really got to listen to or see what is the attitude of the fish. What are they doing? How are they responding to different things you do during the day? And not getting caught up, maybe doing the same thing just because, hey, I did this last week at my home lake and this is how I caught them. As far as the shaky heads and stuff, what's your go-to as far as that's, I love the shaky head. It's honestly cashed me a bunch of checks in the last couple of years. So
I usually start with a 1/8 ounce.
Okay.
And I use robo worms is what I use on there.
Okay.
They have some really good selection. They're hand poured, pretty much any color I need. You can go with the 4-incher, you can go with the longer ones, all depending on what you're fishing for too.
Mm-hmm.
Smallmouth, like really small baits. And so usually I will go down to the smaller finesse worm. But, as far as color, it all depends on the time of year.
Okay.
So.
And as far as like reaction baits this time of year, what's your favorite reaction baits? There's got to be something that you just love to get out there and throw. And
obviously I throw a crankbait. And the crankbaits I usually buy now is this guy. I think he's like 20-something years old. Folks, I'm sure you saw him. He was at the Classic, matter of fact.
Okay.
He makes really, really good crankbaits, and that's pretty much what I use. I love a square bill. If they're not biting the top water, a very good go-to. So, pretty much that would be my reaction.
So with you fishing a shallower lake, like your home water there, Rayburn, you fish a lot more square bills and things like that than some of the deeper divers, or is it kind of, you mix it up a little bit? Yeah.
Well, like I said, you got to listen to the bass.
Right.
They'll tell you what, I know everybody's, talking about their forward-facing sonar, which I do have. I also have a 360. And yes, you can watch them on there, but sometimes you have to stop and listen. Are they hitting the top of the water? Is there, shad running? What is it? Obviously try to match the bait. Number one is what I always try to do.
Right.
But, if they're not chasing, obviously they're closer to the bottom, and they, I'd go slow. Pretty much just look around. I know that sounds like probably a stupid answer, but a lot of people don't. Their heads are buried now.
Right. What,
down.
So, when you're out there and you got this going, what's your favorite thing to fish for? Are you a largemouth kind of fisherman? You smallmouth, you spots? I know there's a person sitting off to your left there that is really big on spots. So
yeah, I really like to catch smallmouth, to be honest. I love catching largemouth. I've done it my whole entire life.
Right.
But smallmouth, I have not been doing that forever. And, I like the fact that they are some fighters.
Yeah.
Between, I think, spots and brownies, I'd say a brownie for sure, 100% is so much tougher. You'll have a 2.5 pounder on there and, it feels like a 4. But that's
I know
just
that
me.
well.
I have a lot of spots. So,
yeah,
that's just opinion.
Yeah, that definitely. I think with the largemouth, a lot of people too, it's where they kind of live. So how you fish and the way you fish, you talked about shaky heads and jigs and things like that. And it's, you can fish that in bass in largemouth waters. It's just a little easier to fish it in spot and smallmouth waters too.
Oh yeah. 100%. I'll say another thing that we do a lot is Carolina rig. We'll go off this. Yes, I do Carolina rig.
That's one that I think has been lost a lot, or less people are talking about that being a part of their arsenal. Is the Carolina rig? It's like
Yeah.
kind of like an older, bait that people don't do as
Funny
much.
though, the Carolina rig. Let's see, where was I at? Ross Barnett.
Mm.
The guy who won it, I think it was Lee Levacy, I believe. He was using a Carolina rig, I believe, part of the time, anyways. And I know my friend that was in the other boat was using a Carolina rig, so. They were catching some really good stringers on a Carolina rig. And apparently it's like a light Carolina rig where, you're putting like a 1/4 ounce weight on there and a really long leader, because they were throwing this in like 2 foot of water, I believe. Some of that may be a little wrong, but it's what I was told.
So it's more of what out here in the West, we've always called that split shotting. Basically, you're putting a 1/4 ounce or a small weight on there with about 18 to 20 inch leader, and then throwing that up and dragging it with maybe what's your go-to bait for a rig?
Honestly, I like a fluke.
Okay.
I do, because it swims in behind there. And so therefore, it has a lot of action, especially those Zoom flukes.
Right.
They have a whole lot of action if you're just, keeping it on the bottom and whatnot. So yeah, that's really my go-to, but really also any type of crawl, I like smaller baits, or, even a monster worm that works really, really well, especially in my area in the South. So,
okay. So you're not just the traditional, hey, I'm going to throw a Carolina rig with a lizard on there or a brush hog or something like that.
Honestly, the only time I really ever pick up a lizard, I would probably be in the spawn. Because, where I'm from, they will tear it up during that time and they'll hold on to it. But the problem is a lot of times they don't want any weight on there. They're going to probably blind cast and they'll pick it up and they'll hold on to it more likely than having that weight on there.
Okay.
So, yeah, but yeah, I'm not big on lizards too much.
Hey, I'm just trying to give my listeners some of the nice little tricks and that you pros are out there throwing and what they're doing, and the fluke on the back of a lighter weight, because when I think of a Carolina rig, I think of like a 3/4 ounce weight, a bead, a swivel, and then 16, 18 inches of ding out there, a 4/0 hook, 4/0 Z-bend hook, and then
it's just it's a lighter weight and a longer leader.
Right.
So, I mean, it's meant for a little bit shallower water. You can pull it through 2 foot. You can pull it through 20 foot. I mean, obviously if it's going to be a little bit windier, you're going to go with that bigger weight to keep it down. But if it's not, that's plenty,
With your weights, are you still using lead, or are you using, because you're using that longer thing, you're using tungsten or
tungsten?
You're tungsten. Okay.
Yes.
You just feel like you get a little better feel out of it.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, because those are the things that I think guys, when they're, or guys, but people, when they're going out to go fishing, that's the little things that they, they really don't, know yet, or, it's like, God, how do I set this thing up? Is it still the same basic, the way you're doing it, the same basic, is you're just using a lighter weight, still the beads, still the swivel, still
the bead, still everything. Okay. But, I was talking to my husband the other day and I was like, I don't understand why I couldn't just peg, a 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce weight, just peg it up high and do without the rest of it. I mean, I don't see, honestly, I know why the beads are there, for the noise and whatnot, but I don't see really how that makes an absolute huge difference. I don't see it. And obviously this is just my opinion.
No, that's good.
I don't understand, so if the listeners, want to learn how to do this, I don't see a reason why you couldn't just go peg it and try it that way. If you like that, learn how to set it up after that. And therefore, I mean, it's really simple to do. It really is. Nothing's really changed from what you're saying.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah. And it's just basically, you're just pulling around you're pulling around a bait that doesn't have the weight directly attached to it.
Yes. Correct.
So,
almost kind of like growing up, we used to call it a do nothing rig.
Right.
Yeah, like you were saying, kind of those crappie weights, the kind that you pinch.
Yep.
We would put it about maybe 12 inches above the worm, get it a little bit more action on that worm, and it works perfectly, and it still works to this day for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's amazing how that little thing will definitely create or give you fish that other people aren't getting.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just the minor little things that you just don't think about.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things you
Just
talked about,
smallest.
you talked about a finesse. You're throwing more of a, I don't want to say a finesse, but you're throwing a smaller, more compact jig,
Yeah.
compared to maybe something that's big and got lots of skirt. Are you cutting your skirts back way down too, or are you?
Bass U, folks. Information is pouring over. If you want to learn more about every lake, how to fish shallow, deep, in between, skipping docks and rocks and cranking, slow wiggling, chatter, smattering, you get it at Bass U. We got the best of the best. If somebody's ever caught a bass on something and perfected the technique, we got you covered. Get on Bass U TV, check it out, sign up, be a member, be part of it, folks. Keep learning. I'm Gerald Swindle. Subscribe to Bass U.
Yes, I do. I do cut my skirts. I do that too. I'm not using big, huge trailers. Like I said, I keep everything very compact.
Right.
And the more compact I keep it, the more real it looks. And I've caught big fish doing that.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's, like I said, that's the important stuff that we're trying to get out there to people is that,
yeah,
just because you go buy it in the store, you pick it up and you look at it and go, wow, that's a cool, all its job is to do is to catch fish, but its best job is to catch you. So, when we talk to you pros out there about this is what we want to know, how much do you alter things and make things go different and make those small adjustments to it right out of the package, to make it work for you a little better.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I just said, sometimes it's the smallest things and sometimes it's a little larger,
right.
From putting that little weight up there, that little bitty round weight up there, and, doing that, to a Carolina rig, which will take you a little bit longer,
right.
But, they'll bite one of them. Just kind of like I said, I listen.
Now, that's a good, I always like to ask that question when you're out there pre-fishing, especially, you're trying to find active fish. You're trying to find fish that are, what I like to call the fish that the average angler that only fishes maybe once or twice a month or something like that gets out. Those are the ones he wants to catch. Those are the ones that those people want to catch. They want to go out there. They want to catch those aggressive fish. If you're giving them and saying, hey, you know what, I pre-fish these things. This is how I look. This is how I do it. This is how I find aggressive fish. What's your one big thing for really looking for those aggressive fish first?
Honestly, they need to be out there at daylight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go catch those aggressive fish, there's nothing better than a topwater bite, right? I mean, if you're just getting started, get out there at daylight, especially summertime. Don't miss those bites. Those first bites are always key. You can definitely catch some really big fish doing that. And obviously, summertime, they're going to slow down a little bit and get in that deeper water. And you may have to fish a little slow for those. And they may not be as active, but let's say you want to fish afternoons. There's been so many times I'll go get in the boat with my dad at 4:00 and we just like to fish before dark because of that bite. It's active. They're aggressive. You really honestly can't beat that. And if you're a new fisherman, that will get you hooked very quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a big topwater guy. I love post spawn. I love that's my jam. So I do loving that stuff.
Really can't that. As far as the excitement and hoping that they stay on and this and that. It's a lot of adrenaline. I can't say it, but
I think if you want to get somebody hooked on fish and you throw a little topwater bait on there, you get them out there going, and when they get those first few blow ups, it's just like, oh my.
Basically, don't be scared that there are all kinds of different, top waters. A buzz bait is really good during the summertime. I love it. Experiment with the colors depending on water clarity.
Right.
And you'll get some really big bites. Frog bite, that's another one. Yes, I do frog, but obviously it has to be the right conditions for it. And, learn how to throw a frog. That's being very versatile, and you can catch fish with a frog all day long if it's not completely sunny, have a little cloud cover and this and that.
Well, I was going to say, we're moving into summer, you bring it up. So I'm going to talk about it because it's one of my favorite topics, but that frog bite right there, tell people a little bit about your setup with frogs and what if you just told them, go out and learn how to fish frogs. Cause there is a way to fish frogs right. And there's a way to fish frogs wrong.
Yes, correct. I actually use braid. I probably should use more than 50, but I like 50-pound braid is what I like to use. And I usually get a spro frog. Obviously I have a whole lot of different colors based on the water clarity, the black and yellow, the white, all of them. Basically I throw it out there, usually in the pads or over the hydrilla, and I will pop it. And it's not an extremely fast pop. Well, it can be, all depends on how active they are.
Right.
But now let's say you're in the pads, it's a hot summer day, 90 something degrees. I'm probably going to walk the dog slowly, back to me. And I'm probably going to stop it where, let's say you're in the pads and you got a hole. I would stop it right in the holes and pause it. Give them a chance to take it. Frog bite is different than probably any other bite. Obviously you can take it out of their mouth really quick, because obviously you're going to have a reaction when you hear them take it. The first thing you're going to think is, I need to set my hook right away. No. Don't do that. Obviously you got to wait for a minute. Yeah, you got to let them take it.
Right.
So that's what I could tell the people listening who wants to throw a frog.
What's your rod and what's your reel? When you're setting this thing up, what do you do?
Actually I have a brand new rod, and it's actually a 6-scale rod.
Okay.
It's a heavy rod, and it's actually made just for frogging. I could possibly tell you the name if I looked at it, it's 6-scale, but anyways, but yeah, it's a 7.4 or 7.6, but it's heavy.
Okay.
And, it's awesome. You got to have a good backbone on those rods. You have to, in order to pull them out of the pads or the hydrilla or anything like that. You can't have anything flimsy.
And what's your speed on your reel? Are you fast, slow?
Actually slow.
Okay.
It's pretty slow. Yeah.
Is that just because once they do take it, usually they're down in that nasty stuff and you want that low gear ratio to kind of crank them out rather than trying to keep up with them?
Yes, correct. I mean, you got to think when they're in that stuff. I'll say when I was at the last lake and I was using a frog, the first thing they would do is they'd take the frog and they would go down into the pads to where the root system was.
Right.
And I don't know how they realized just to do that every single time, but that's what they would do. The same thing fishing hydrilla. Usually they just go straight down, and you're going to have to pull that up, that bass out of that hydrilla, probably with all that hydrilla on there. And I mean, it's tough. It really is.
Well, and that's the reason for one of the reasons for the braid is to have the ability to cut through that grass with your line rather than have, if you got stretch, you got a mono on there, you got even fluorocarbon, which doesn't have that much stretch, but you're going to break it. You're going to break every time. You're not going to get that fish out.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like we talked about jigs, most of the time, let's say if I was on Rayburn right now, I would have braid on. There's no way I'd ever be called to have a fluorocarbon.
Right.
But we're here on this lake, which is very, very lake. I had to do away with the braid. I mean, they see it. I had, a friend in my boat yesterday, and she had mono on, and I had fluoro on, and I was throwing my jig. Well, she was having problems getting bites. It does matter what type of line you use and how big it is, depending on clarity of the water.
Right. And that's because right. And that's important. I mean, the thing about, fluorocarbon is the light reflection it has on it. It makes it almost crystal clear when it's down there, as long as it doesn't have any nicks in it. In mono, it does. You can see it. It's a little denser. It's a little, it's a little more, and it does give off a little bit. Line shy is a thing when you've got 20 foot of visibility. I fish a lot in that kind of water here in California. and yes, that, it does make a difference when you go with something like that compared to a braid. Now, do you throw braid, leave your braid on and then just add a leader, or you just take it all off, put new stuff on? I just use braid. I just use straight. No, I mean, when you switched up to bull shoals from,
Rayburn. I'm straight for a carbon. Okay. I took all the braid and I did away with that.
Okay.
Because I don't really want to chance it, as far as I know they can see it.
Right.
I mean, they can see that. Yeah, there's a possibility I may lose some fish, but that's my responsibility too, to check my line every so often. I don't have any nicks, because I am fishing around some rocks.
Right.
So, but them biting my lure with fluoro is a better higher ratio than it would be if I had on braid.
Okay.
I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but just from what I've seen.
As long as it works for you, you can't be wrong, right?
That's the thing. Like, nobody's wrong. If you want to go throw out Pinko all day and you can catch the weight, who cares how you caught them? It doesn't matter.
Right.
Go do what your strength is and figure out what that is and go catch them like that.
Right.
And that was the thing about bull shoals is you have so many possibilities of all the things you can possibly do. I'm picking my strengths.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm going to do. I can get bit like that. So why not? It doesn't matter how I catch them as long as I catch them.
Yeah, that's a good, that's something that I've heard from a lot of the people that I've talked to, a lot of the pros that I've talked to, just like yourself, is that, in the end, with everything else, yes, you have to be diverse, but
yes,
if you know what you're really good at, start there, then work away. And that's so important. I've seen so many guys. I mean, the owner of this company, Mark was saying, I fish with him a bunch and I know what he's got his strengths at, and he picks it up and he throws it first. And if he can get fish on that, he knows how to do it. He knows how to manipulate it, how to work this, how to work that, to get it to work for him, to get the fish he wants.
Yeah.
But you also have to kind of keep that in your back pocket too sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, something I've realized also, doing all this is, I can be catching them on one thing. I can give a person a waypoint. I can give them the bait. I can give them that type of information. But if they don't work that bait just like you do, or, they may go catch them better because they work it different than you do.
Right.
You're not ever guaranteed to catch something just because somebody else catches something on this.
Right.
It's not a guarantee, it's just how it is. I mean, it's funny when, I have somebody in my boat with an Ed rig freaking tearing them up and I can't freaking get a bite off of it. Obviously there's something there, but it doesn't make me not ever want to throw that.
Right.
I'm going to try to get better at it, try to learn it, and I will throw it more and more as I do. But I don't think we're all good at everything. And I think you have to fish your strengths.
Right. Yeah, no, I fully believe that. I think the MLF tour proves that every week they're out there, guys. Some lakes that just, some of the best guys in the world end up with zero fish for zero, for 3 rounds or whatever.
Yep.
So,
hey, it can happen. We're going to have our good tournaments, especially them. They're going to have their good tournaments. They're going to have their bad tournaments. You kind of just roll with it, get over it, learn something from it, because I will say when I've done my worst, I've learned the most. Mm-hmm. And that's not like one of these positive, but seriously, I've had my teeth knocked out and, it's like, okay, well, what did I learn from this situation?
Right.
And also I just say Smith Lake last year, it's a whole lot like Bull Shoals, as far as being clear, this and that. It's hard as heck to fish if you don't know how to fish it. Us in the South, we're not used to this really clear water.
Right.
And so I get on the Toyota series or, you do the opens or whatever, and you go to some of these clear lakes, it forces you to learn very quickly because you're going to be fishing with some studs and they're going to know how to fish it.
Right.
But you're more prepared the next time you go.
Yep.
So,
I want to switch gears just a little bit here and talk to you about, you just say, right now you're fishing the LBAA. You've got the Toyota series coming up. You've got a BFL coming up. You got the Bassmaster Central Opens. You're out there fishing. Not only the LBAA is a ladies tour, but you're out there fishing with the top fishermen in the country. You're holding your own, obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get out there.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. How has it been as far as are you having any issues, I guess, as far as being out there and fishing against these top, I get, the male dominated sport of bass fishing right now. I see a lot of ladies coming up in it from high school all the way up. I'm super stoked about that because I've always been a big proponent of it. I love the fact that there are ladies out there. The one sitting to your left over there, Nikki Jo, I had her on the show and talked about that. She's a heck of a lady. I really love her passion for this sport too, as well as yourself. I've met you guys. It's absolutely great to see. How has it been for you out there on the tours? I mean, have you been pretty well accepted?
Bass Angler Magazine is your guide to better bass fishing. Bass Angler is dedicated to helping you catch more and bigger bass no matter what time of year or where you live. This is not your ordinary fishing magazine. Every issue is jam-packed with 30-plus articles from the world's best bass anglers. Bass Angler Magazine is available at bassanglermag.com, Tackle Warehouse, Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Gander Mountain, Walmart, and better tackle shops everywhere. Bass Angler also makes a great gift for any angler. Get Bass Angler today and start catching more bass tomorrow. Visit bassanglermag.com or your favorite tackle shop. This is not your ordinary fishing magazine. bassanglermag.com.
Yes. I actually have, I have a little group of friends, guy friends that, I'm around a lot and they kind of take me under their wing. But then, you always have those ones too that believe that you're not supposed to be there.
Right.
And, I've had somebody tell me that I didn't need to be there. I needed to go back to the BFLs. Until I won, I did not need to move up, and I wasn't supposed to move up. And it was pretty hard. But, then you turn around and, have, somebody say, you do what you're doing, you keep on doing it. You're going to have your teeth knocked out. You just get up, you keep going, fish as many tournaments as you can, and learn as much as you can.
Right.
Because, a crash course is actually a good course for a lot of people, especially, I've been fishing since I was 2. This is not anything new for me.
Right.
Obviously the competition is new because one side may be Rick Clunn and the other side Holmes, because it was like that at one of the tournaments. And so, that part is kind of weird, obviously, because you're looking around, you're like, man, there's some dang sticks around me.
Yeah.
And only woman, so that's kind of makes you nervous. It does. It makes you a little nervous. But as I go through this season, the more I calm down and the more I'm just like I said a second ago, fish your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do things, you kind of stick to the basics, fish your strengths, and keep your head down and work hard, everybody's eventually going to accept you, because this is not a man's sport anymore. It's a people's sport.
Yep.
And I think it's going to take not just one person, many women to help pave the way. And I'm talking about, not expect special treatment. Get out there, work your butt off, show them that you can do it, because bass fishing's mental.
Yes.
It's really physical. I mean, yeah, you got to stand up all day, but it's not any of those things. It's easy. You learn how to back up the truck. You learn how to do all these things, help pave the way.
Yeah. Well, you are doing that. You're helping pave the way.
Exactly.
You and there's a bunch of ladies out there doing the work
right now with 5 women.
Huh?
What did you say?
No, I said, you cut out there.
Yeah, I'm staying in the house with 5 women right now. Some of us co-anglers, some of us, fish boater side, but we all kind of think alike. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think women should expect special treatment, because we don't need it. Everything needs to be the same across the board.
Correct.
And that's what I believe. The guys are good to us. You just got to kind of let them be. And like I said, keep your head down and do your job.
Right. Well, it's like you said, it's just fishing. I mean, there's nothing that fish does not know. That fish does not know what's at the other end of that pole. The fish does not care. Doesn't even. It's all that fish cares about is who's going to make him Facebook famous.
100. The hard part about a lot of this is you get judged before you ever even get on the water.
Right.
Just judged by maybe what you look like, what you're doing. Just every little thing is kind of picked apart. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one reason why a lot of women are not trying to do more, like fish in the BFLs, fish in the Toyota series. Because, I mean, I think they're scared of a lot of that kind of stuff. And, honestly, just don't be. Just do it. Who cares? Because once you start, getting checks or you start placing well, they will accept you. Mm-hmm. 100%. They will.
I think that really runs true in this sport. And other sports also, but I mean, in this sport, especially I feel like man, woman, child, I don't care. You prove yourself and people will step up and just let you stand next to them. I mean, guys, I look at some of these guys, Kevin Van Dam came out of nowhere. He was a kid, Mike Iaconelli. These were young guys. And, that's how most everybody starts off, is they start off these young guys who are, maybe come out with Jordan Lee, all these guys who, they come out with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, maybe trying to learn, but at the same time, they're trying to assert their dominance as well. And I think that all the ladies out there are doing the same thing. And there's a lot of them. And it's been, it's just not a new thing that there's ladies in this sport. It's been going on forever, but the ability for them to start cashing checks.
Really hard for the ladies before us, though. I mean, look at Pam Martin Wells.
Right.
Made the classic, and I hear through the grapevine kind of how she was treated while she was there, this and that. She made it like anybody else, and she was the very first woman to do so.
Right.
Anything, I think she came maybe in the top 20, 25, something like that, but she got to fish day 3. that's amazing within itself. You know, she helped pave the way for us women. I hate that she kind of got treated the way that she did. You know, that's not right. But I think it's changed a lot. I mean, we're in 2022 now.
Yeah.
Anybody can do anything they want, you know, and if they don't like it, they'll get over it, I guess.
Well, and a lot of the same mentalities aren't accepted any longer. The sexual harassment definitely frowned upon now, you know, where it wasn't before, back especially when she was out there, you know, it was definitely, it was not frowned upon, it was just common. You know, and now you're in this position where you know, that's definitely frowned upon, and people are going to be you know, reprimanded and talked to about, you know, inappropriateness. And we have that today, you know, and it's just one of those things that I think it's good that we know, you know, we're being put in check, and that people are, you have to respect everybody else. You know, everybody out there has their own story. Everybody out there has their own deal. You got to respect who they are as a person. I have had there's been tons of anglers that have come up that are, you know, wear dreads or have long hair or this or that or the other, and they wouldn't have been accepted, you know, at the same time, and now they are, because they are a personality, and they have the right to be their own person. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, in all my co-anglers I have ever had, I've never had one that says, "Oh my God, I drew a woman."
Right.
You know, it's never like that. They have all treated me with 100% respect. You know, and we always have a good time in the boat, always. So a lot of the stories that I've heard from other women, they really have not happened with me. And you know, I don't know. I'm glad it hasn't. You know, I have not had any problems. Only that one guy that's telling me basically give up and go back to the BFLs and fish as a coat. But other than that, you know, everybody has really, really been good. But also they see me getting out there working my butt off, which I'll always do. I mean, that's just what I do. I don't expect to have anything good without working for it.
Well, you're on the front of the boat. You're on the front of the boat. It's a long swim back.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, it's like you ask, you know, about, you know, maybe the group I'm around, this and that. The group that I kind of hang with or go eat, they're tight lipped, man. They will not tell me not one single thing if we're at another. I mean, not one thing. And you'll try to I don't try to get it out of them, but they'll start talking, co-talk and everything. It's like, seriously? But yeah.
So what you're saying is they're just as competitive as everybody else?
Yes. Yes. And just because you're a woman doesn't mean, you know, you can't go out there and beat them just as anybody else can.
It's going to happen. There's going to be a woman that goes out and just absolutely starts destroying. There's a lady over in, and I can never remember her name, young lady coming up in the kayak series right now, and she's out there cashing checks left and right. And so it is very interesting to see how it's going to happen, but somebody's going to start doing it, and there'll be a wave, and it'll happen. And it's a good thing to see that is, I think it's a good thing for the industry in whole, just in the sense that there will be opportunities at that point, sponsor wise and things like that. They'll start looking differently at what a woman brings to the table when it comes to that sort of thing.
They just need to make sure that they're doing it for the right reasons. That's one little pet peeve I've had with my own, you know, I'm not a lot of women, but some women, you know, they want to go fishing for the wrong reasons. You know, they're just all about just the social media, not the hard work that you put on the water.
Right.
You know, I have the respect for the women that do both, obviously. You know, go work hard, prove yourself. Obviously, the social media can help make you more popular. That's a good thing too, as well. But you need basically to do both to be also accepted by everybody that you're fishing with too, as well. I mean, they treat you better when you do work hard a lot, but you know, you're not just, you know, some blonde just trying to get into the outdoors business,
right?
So.
And I see that with a lot of different people in that they're just looking at it going, you know, you're taking money out of my pocket if you're just in this to, you know, to be a pretty face. If that's all you're coming into this industry for is to be a pretty face, you know, you're taking money out of my pocket. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman saying that or a man saying that, you know, if all you're doing to come into this is just be a model, great.
Yeah.
You know, that's needed. It's going to always be there. But, you know, it is a little bit of a slap in my face when you just start saying how much I'm a great angler. I'm a great angler. And it's like, really, which end of that pole are you supposed to be holding? Because you're holding the wrong end now.
Yeah. Just like you'll never catch me ever in a bathing suit holding a fish.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I don't want to be looked at in that kind of way. I work too hard to be looked at in that kind of way. And
Right.
I hate to say it, some women anglers, that's what they do. You know,
Right.
that's their, which 100%, hey, you got the body, go do it, girl. I
Yeah.
support that 100%, but that's not for me.
Right.
You know, not at all. I want to try to do things in a little bit different way. And, you know, this is how I choose to do it. So
I will be out there in a bathing suit anytime I can. So just give me the money. That's all I care. No, but yeah. So we just got a little bit more time here. We'll wrap this thing up. So tell me a little bit about, you're fishing a lot of tournaments right now. That's a lot of work right there. Your schedule is intense.
it is.
How are your sponsors taking care of you? You got good sponsors, you got things like that going on. I mean, tell us a little bit about, what you are as a pro angler.
I have some very, very good sponsors. They do take very good care of me, as far as any kind of baits or anything that I possibly need. They take care of that. Yes, I do have a very busy schedule, but honestly, that's how I like it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not fishing, I want to be fishing. And, honestly, with these gas prices, I probably won't be going as much anymore, but I'm probably going to be riding a bicycle to a creek.
Yeah.
I'm messing with you, but yeah.
So you got the Prius jacked up, right? So you can plug it in and get the boat to the.
Yep. I'll just do on top of it. I don't care as long as I'm on the water. But
yeah. That's definitely, it's going on everywhere. Hopefully it will change. It may take 2 years, but we'll see what happens.
Worried is domino effect. It's going to affect a lot, and I believe it's going to affect fishing too as well. Unfortunately.
I was out on Memorial Day weekend fishing at one of my local lakes, and there was 3 boats, and I was one of them. And it was crazy ski boats, everything. Yeah. There was only 3 boats, and it's like, I live in a little bit of a remote area in California. Yeah. So it is, to get to my waterways takes a little bit to drive and then tow your boat and get there. And it's like, people just weren't going to pay it. And that was actually when it was cheap. It was only $5.35. Now that it's $6.35 here.
That's just ridiculous. It's not like that here yet. I think it was like $4.64 today, I believe. But I don't know what I'll do if it's $6. I'm cringing with it being $4. So, but it makes what I love to do a lot harder. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So you need those a whole lot more these days.
Yeah, you need sponsors a heck of a lot more. And that's, the last thing I really wanted to talk to you about, and I like to talk to most of the pros with that, is, talking about the people coming up behind us, the youth. You're out there setting this example for the youth of coming up into this industry, especially the young ladies coming up into it. What can you give them that really says, hey, this is what you need to focus on if you're coming into this industry? If you want to be an angler, you want to fish this, because this is not cheap sport. I don't care when gas prices were 50 cents. This is not a cheap sport to be in.
For sure.
What's that big key piece of advice that you can give to that young lady coming up that's in high school right now going, you know what, I want to be just like her?
Well, number one, there's a few things actually. Number one, learn how to back your own truck up and trailer. Please. Be able to do that and be really, really good at it. I used to back up the truck and trailer when I was 12 years old in between trees with my dad. That's how he taught me. Mm-hmm. And learn how to do that. Learn how to fish on your own. Make your own decisions. Some of the hardest decisions you're ever going to make is in front of the boat. And unfortunately, we can make bad ones and we also can make good ones, but you need to learn how to make those. And obviously, that's very important. Number 2, get you a good resume, which means go fish a lot of different tournaments, do well in those tournaments. If you want sponsors, have a good resume put together, because you're looking for partnerships. You're not actually looking for sponsorships. It's partnerships, because you're partnering with whatever bait company it is, whatever boat company it is. And, you're trying to help sell what, they have, so that is definitely a partnership, and you need to prove that you can be that person for them. And so have yourself together. Social media is a huge, big deal. Unfortunately, I'm probably behind on that because, I'm 40 years old That's not top priority to me. I feel like I need to be on the water 24/7, not working on my social media. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind on that stuff, but you are starting now if you're in high school. So therefore, by the time you get to my age, it's gonna be bad. So I mean, that's how you get sponsors. They want that built-in audience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a built-in audience and you have a great resume, there's really nothing that can stop you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I said, sorry, I kind of ramble.
No, that's good. That's good. I like to be able to sit here and not have to say everything, because they're very good points what you're talking about, and especially with the way that this sport has come up to where we have the high school, we've got college now, we've got, I know they're not giving out full blown scholarships just yet for everybody, but man, I can tell you it's coming. You can just see the way that this is going, and it's coming, that people are going to be able to get full ride scholarships to fish on these different, college deals.
One more thing that's probably more important than them all is parents teach your kids how to act on the water,
Mm-hmm.
As far as how far you're supposed to be from another boat, when you're fishing, have that fishing etiquette, because if you do not, that's not a good thing. Learn how to do those things, because it won't only make you a better angler. You'll get along with a whole lot more people that way. Because I kind of feel like some of these high school kids that are coming up, only because I have seen it,
Mm-hmm.
the parents may not be huge boaters. They don't know all the rules.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you can't go look them up, learn the rules, learn, fishing etiquette. So,
and it's not, that's a great point. And it's not something that's written in a book. It is something a lot of times you have to learn on the water, and you have to learn it from other anglers. And some days you're going to get your butt chewed if you do something wrong, by God.
Yeah.
I've been out there and had, I've seen some atrocious things, and I know you have too. And it's just like, come on, get real. Think about what you're doing. Think about the way it is. And it is tough. And that's a great little, tidbit to have in there too.
A man, woman, whoever. I mean, it just, everything's a lot better when you just, have that etiquette, and you keep your distance, and you don't pull up on somebody when they're fishing there. You go around them, stuff like that. I mean, it sounds so simple, in the whole midst of, the whole fishing world, but it means a whole lot to a lot of anglers when we're out there and somebody's not pulling right up on us.
Well, it's the difference between you having a good name on the water and people respecting you, and you having a bad name on the water, people not respecting you. And then that trickles down, because every time they talk about you, they talk negatively rather than positively.
Yeah.
So
very much.
You have to think,
very much.
Think those things. And the whole backing up thing, that is not just for women. Guys, go out there and figure out how to back your trailers in.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
About that moment, but no, everybody. I really thought, I told my husband the other day, I said, I need to go put a lawn chair down at the boat ramp, have a sign that says, $5, I'll back up your truck for you. I mean, things moving a whole lot faster. But I'm joking, but yes, everybody needs to learn. It's very important.
Absolutely. So, all right, Stephanie. Well, thank you very much. Our hour's up. I'm going to put this in the can, and this will come out on Friday. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate your taking the time. You're sitting in the dark now out in your boat. But I really appreciate you giving us your time and giving us the information that you have. It's wonderful. Great luck out there. I really loved meeting you down in Oklahoma. It's been great. I wish you all the best out there, and I hope we get to have you on here when you win one of these tournaments. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. That's the show tonight. Thanks for tuning in. A couple of weeks, we'll have another pro angler out there giving you the best tips on the water that I can give you. So, thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you and listen to you on the next one. Thanks.